Russia has detained an Uzbek citizen over the assassination of chemical weapons chief Igor Kirillov. The suspect reportedly confessed to planting and detonating a bomb which killed the top Russian general in Moscow on the orders of the Security Service of Ukraine, or SBU. Now, this is the most high-profile killing of its kind on Russian soil by Ukraine. Just a day before, Kyiv charged Kirillov with the use of banned chemical weapons, something that Moscow denies. Russia says it will raise the assassination at an upcoming UN Security Council session, vowing retribution for those involved in the killing. And for more, let's bring in our correspondents Dasha Chernyshova reporting live from Moscow and Alex Cadier standing by in Kyiv. Now, Dasha, let's go over to you first. Can you tell us more about the suspect in Russian custody now?
Well, we do know from the Russian investigators, the investigative committee, as well as the Russian Federal Security Service from the FSB, that they have made this detention of an Uzbek national born in 1995. They have not provided his name, but they say he is the one who was detained in the outskirts of the Russian capital. And he apparently, in the video that has been provided by the Russian security services, has confessed to this crime, saying in that video in Russian language that he came to the Russian capital, purchased the scooter in which he later planted the explosive device, which came several months later, and then he parked that scooter by the house of the Russian general Igor Kirillov. We also know from the Russian investigators that there was a car from the car sharing that was parked nearby from where the broadcast was being conducted. There was the camera installed in it, and the broadcast, according to the Russian investigative committee, has been directed to Dnipro, from where the order to explode to detonate that explosive device has come. So we do know now that one person has been detained. There have been claims that there could be more people detained, and the Kremlin has described the investigation as efficient one, saying that Moscow knows very well who is the enemy and what he is capable of. We also have heard the Russian Foreign Ministry commenting on this situation, and Maria Zakharova, the spokesperson from the Foreign Affairs Ministry, is saying that it is clear who the beneficiary of this assassination is, alleging that this is the West.
Now, Alex, let's go over to you now. Washington has confirmed that several hundred North Korean troops dead in battle while fighting Ukraine. What is the latest on the battlefront?
Well, the latest is that this war continues to be a slow and attritional invasion by Russia. But you're right to say that those U.S. officials speaking anonymously to the AP news agency, saying that a couple hundred North Korean troops had been killed in this war. Of course, Russia escalating it by bringing these North Korean troops into the conflict. Those officials in the U.S. saying that these troops don't appear to be battle-hardened, hence why their casualty numbers are so high, and why perhaps these troops do not appear to be a game-changer on the battlefield. They are, of course, currently fighting in Russia's Kursk region, which had been taken a part of which, I should say, had been taken by Ukrainian forces. Now, President Zelenskyy has also commented on North Korean troops, saying it is difficult to assess exactly how many have been killed because, as he put it, Russia is trying to hide North Korean casualty numbers. But the special forces of Ukraine saying that they had killed 50 North Korean troops in the space of a few days. The situation on the battlefield still difficult for Ukraine. We know that there's a risk of Ukrainian troops being encircled by Russian troops near the town of Pokrovsk. That has been a front that is very challenging for the Ukrainian forces, and some advances back in the Kursk region as well. Ukrainian forces there on the back foot too. So the situation on the battlefield very tricky for Ukraine.
Now, Alex, we also know that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy is meeting with NATO's chief and also key European leaders. What can we expect from those talks?
Well, he'll be in Brussels to meet with those leaders whilst the European Council meeting is ongoing. He will meet with the leaders of France, the UK, Germany, Italy, Poland, as well as Ursula von der Leyen, the Commission President, and Antonio Costa, the new European Council President, and Mark Rutte, the Secretary General of NATO. A few things on the agenda: European military and financial aid for Ukraine. We know that more than 4 billion euros have just been paid out to Ukraine in the last couple of days, but certainly the looming prospect of a Donald Trump administration reducing U.S. support means that European support becomes even more crucial for Ukraine. So that is what President Zelenskyy will be asking for at this meeting. He'll also be discussing the possibility of European troops being used in some kind of buffer zone during a ceasefire, but still that remains very theoretical with no clear path to a ceasefire deal. The other thing, and a little interesting tidbit there, Robert Fico, the Prime Minister of Slovakia, will also be there discussing with the Ukrainians a deal whereas Russian gas would go through Ukrainian territory and be sold onto Europe. That deal runs out at the end of this month. The Slovak Prime Minister, not a fan, not a supporter of Ukraine, will be asking the Ukrainian leadership to do him a favor and put that deal back on the table. A lot to monitor in the next few hours.
Alex, Dasha, thank you so much for that update. That was Dasha Chernyshova reporting live from Moscow and Alex Cadier live in Kyiv.